Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner open up about one of their most intimate bonds. The relationship between Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner continues to generate more buzz than any other topic in the tennis world right now. On the occasion of the exhibition in Korea, which marked the latest match between the two best players in the world, the Spaniard and the Italian gave an interview in which they answered, and joked about, one of their most personal connections, how they saved each other's numbers in their phones. Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner maintain an impeccable relationship off the court as well. They keep proving it with gestures such as sharing a plane to travel to Melbourne to compete in the Australian Open, which you can watch on Eurosport and HBO Max. They also don't hesitate to show how well they get along when they do interviews together. In one of their latest joint appearances, taking advantage of their presence in Korea for the recent exhibition in which Carlitos defeated the Italian, both were able to open up, while laughing out loud, about one of the most personal bonds that exists, their phone numbers. Sinner and Alcaraz had to answer questions written on sticky notes attached to a board. The player from San Condito decided they would respond to the following: "What name do you have the other saved under in your phone?" Carlitos answered without hesitation. For me, it's Sinner," the Spaniard said simply, bursting into laughter and prompting everyone else present to do the same. His greatest rival's answer was a bit more unconventional. "And I saved him, because he changed his number, so I have him as Carlos Alcaraz knew," Sinner said, triggering more general laughter. "Very old school," the Italian concluded. "I thought you were going to say Carlos Alcaraz too. I usually save people who change their number a lot as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Carlitos then commented. "Knew. Always knew," Sinner finished, bringing the amusing moment between the ATP number 1 and number 2 to a close. Alcaraz announces his biggest change within the professional tour. After the ban in Melbourne, the men's circuit authorizes performance devices on court. The technology could be used at Indian Wells. Doubts flooded both social media and the circuit itself when, during the Australian Open, the world number 1 was instructed to remove his Whoop bracelet before the start of his round of 16 match against Tommy Paul. A decision that, although it did not please the Spaniard, did not destabilize him enough to prevent his victory, 7-6, 6-4, 7-5. There were various hypotheses, from fears of communication with the betting sector, to technological doping or improper technical measurements, all of it compounded by the lack of approval of certain products. In the case of Whoop, far from dramatizing the situation after being thrust into the spotlight, they took advantage of the controversy as a publicity move. They sent smart technical apparel to figures such as Sinner, Sabalenka, and Alcaraz himself so they could continue tracking their data. After analyzing the situation and once the controversy cooled down, the men's circuit made its position official through a statement. The board has approved a rule that expands the range of permitted wearable device providers and authorizes their on-court use by players in ATP competitions. In this way, the reigning Australian Open champion will be able to continue setting trends with devices that, from now on, are no longer on the list of prohibited accessories. What changes with the rule implemented by the ATP? The devices, usually monitoring wristbands, record heart rate, workload, recovery, and sleep quality. This information not only helps the player's fitness team but also feeds analyses that optimize planning. The ATP justified the change due to the rise of data analysis in high-performance sport. The new regulation will take effect immediately, and the first tournament in which these monitoring wristbands can be seen will be the Indian Wells Masters 1000. The measure aims to regulate their use and expand the range of authorized providers, thus limiting disputes between officials and technical teams before matches. The initial controversy, however, had an unexpected effect. It increased Hoop's visibility. Its founder, Will Ahmed, spoke out to defend the device and stated, "It is approved by the International Tennis Federation and poses no safety risk. Let athletes measure their bodies. Data are not steroids." The authorization of monitoring wristbands closes one discussion about technology on court and opens another, how to manage information without altering competitive equality. For the ATP, it is about adapting the rules to tools that are already part of preparation and that also bring a more professional and scientific framework to the tour. Zverev revives the controversy with Alcaraz in Australia. He had a small physical break. The German does not forget the semi-final match against the Spaniard in which moments of desperation were experienced during a match lasting nearly 5.5 hours. What a match we witnessed just a month ago between Carlos Alcaraz and Alexander Zverev. An Australian Open semi-final that ended with an incredible 6-4, 7-6, 6-7, 6-7, 7-5 in a match lasting 5 hours and 27 minutes. The German reappeared at the ATP in Acapulco after a month of rest following that tough blow, defeating Corentin Moutet in the first round and recalling in the press conference that unforgettable battle against the Spaniard. Zverev reflects on Australia. I think in Australia I played the right way. I lost the match against Alcaraz because I got tired at the end, being honest. I had nothing left in the tank at 5-4. I remember in the first point of that game that I should have hit the ball much earlier, but to do that you have to move, and I couldn't, Alexander Zverev explained to the media. We must not overlook the conflict that arose during the match. When Alcaraz was attended to during the third set for vomiting and cramps, an angry Zverev could not help but shout, "He has cramps. What is this nonsense? He can't go to the doctor, he has cramps. What else could it be? This is complete nonsense. Nonsense. This is unbelievable!" Yelling at the chair umpire and implying that the Australian Open favoured both Alcaraz and Sinner, who experienced a similar situation. With batteries recharged after the disappointment against Carlitos, all the back and forth over the cramps and the prohibition of receiving treatment during a match was widely discussed, but Zverev has already moved on. The world number 4 arrived in Acapulco with a different attitude. "I didn't play at all after the Australian Open. I took some time off and had good training sessions because I want to continue playing in a certain way and with a specific style, and that requires a lot of training and adjustments. For me, it's a very different game from last year. I'm trying new things. I arrived here several days ago, so I've had time to train and to try to have a good tournament." Although luck does not seem to be on his side, as he fell in the round of 16 to Kekmanovic in a tight 3-set match that ended 3-6, 7-6, 3, 6-7, 7, with the German having victory within reach. How much money would Carlos Alcaraz earn if he lifts the title in Indian Wells? The ATP has made public the prize money for the Indian Wells tournament, the first Masters 1000 of the season. The best players in the world will once again meet in Indian Wells from March 4 to 15. The facilities of the Indian Wells Tennis Garden will host, as usual, the first Masters 1000 of the season, a tournament players love and that all the great legends of the sport have won at some point. Federer, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2012, and 2017, and Djokovic, 2008, 2011, 2014, 2015, and 2016, have each won it 5 times. Rafa Nadal has 3 titles in the Californian desert, 2007, 2009, and 2013, and Jimmy Connors and Michael Chang have also claimed it in 3 editions. Carlos Alcaraz has already triumphed twice in Indian Wells, 2023 and 2024, appearing on the list of players with 2 titles, alongside names such as Jim Courier, Boris Becker, Lleyton Hewitt, and Pete Sampras. The current champion and defending title holder is the Briton Jack Draper, who defeated Alcaraz in last year's semifinals. And as in every ATP tournament, there will be substantial prize money for all players. Carlos Alcaraz, champion this year at the Australian Open and the ATP 500 in Doha, leads this season's earnings with more than $3 million, specifically, a total of $3,301,730. The Spaniard, in outstanding form, will seek his 3rd title of the year in Indian Wells and continue increasing his bank account. The ATP has already made public the prize money for Indian Wells 2026, and the winner will take home $1,151,380. The finalist will earn $612,340, while the semifinalists will receive $340,190. Reaching the quarterfinals will bring a prize of $193,645. The remaining prize money will be distributed as follows. 4th round, $105,720. 3rd round, $61,865. 2nd round, $36,110. 1st round, $24,335.